my dear students, welcome to English class. Today in this video I am going to help you to understand a beautiful love poem When You Are Old, written by William Butler Yeats. In short, W.B. Yeats. Before going to the poem, let me tell about the poet W.B. Yeats, who was born on 1865 and died on 1939. W.B. Yeats was an Irish poet and one of the foremost figures of 20th century literature. He was one of the founders of Abbey Theatre, and in 1923 he had got Nobel Prize for Literature. W.B. Yeats was one of the greatest love poets in the world. Here we have a beautiful poem, When You Are Old. The theme of the poem is true love. The poem reveals the complexities of love. The poet addresses in this poem a lady called Maud Gonne. Who was an Irish actress with whom the poet was loved through his life. Here, the poet tells about a kind of love, in favor of a kind of love which is based not on the physical beauty which will fade over time or one day, and this poem is based deeply on the beauty of the soul. In this poem, the poet imagines his beloved in future while she is old and she is reading a book now he is writing. Through that reading of that book, she has to recollect her beautiful young days and the people who admired her. Many people loved her, but the poet tells here the men who loved her loved only her physical beauty, while others loved her like others. The only one man who loved her soul, the beauty of her soul. This is the theme of this poem. Students, now let me read this poem. You have a look at this text. When you are old and grey and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. The first stanza begins like this. When you are old and grey and full of sleep and nodding by the fire. Here, the poet asks his lady love to think ahead to a time when she will be old, tired and sleep. First line, when you are old, here you means his beloved or his lady love. She has to think one day she will be old. That time, second line, he is telling she has to take the book, reading a book, and she has to read slowly that book. Here reading means she has to recollect her youth days, her younger days. That time she was very beautiful. And the third line, and slowly read and dream of the soft look. So she has to think about the events, what happened in her beautiful days while she was very young. Soft look here means physical beauty. That time she was very beautiful. Now she became old. and your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. Now, one by one, all the incidents of her younger time, it is coming to her eyes. Now, let's go to the second stanza. Second stanza. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with a love false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. In the second stanza, the speaker characterizes the lady's youth. Youth is a kind of attractive force in which other people will be attractive in this orbit. Here, the second stanza begins like this. How many loved your moments of glad grace? Many people loved your physical beauty. When they loved you, they loved your beauty, and it is not a true love. And the third line, it's very important. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. Here, the poet tells about himself. The one man who loved the pilgrim soul in you, that was a true love. The one man truly loved you, he loved your beauty of your soul, not the beauty of physical beauty, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. Day by day, changes will be there in our physical appearance, and that man was ready to love that changes also. So here in the second stanza, he is telling about the true love, how he loved her in that days. Dear students, the last stanza. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. Finally, the poet asked the lady to bend down her head beside the glowing bars of that fire, and she has to murmur about the true love of that man, the one man, how he loved her. And she has to murmur very sadly. And in the last stanza, the poet personifies this love, that a true love fled and paced upon the mountains, and hid his face among the crowd of the stars. Here, the poet uses a pendulum-like movement. The poet brings this lady to the past, and she has to recollect her beautiful moments in her younger time, that beautiful time. And she has to think about what will happen in the future. She will become old and her will become grey. She has to think about that also. So here, one more thing, the poet making a comparison, a contrast between how the other men loved her. The other men loved only her beauty, but the man, the one man who loved truly, he truly loved her beautiful soul, the beauty of her soul. So here we can see that comparison also in this poem. In the last stanza, the poet wants the lady to bend her head, and she has to murmur sadly about her true love. That true love hid his face among the crowd of the stars. She has to think about it because she did not recognize the greatness of true love. This poem is a comment on the love which is based on beauty will pass. The beauty of our body, it will fade one day. And the beauty based on the love which is based on the beauty, that also will pass. It will not long there. And here he is telling the love which is growing together, the time and the physical withering or the irrespective of age, it will be remain. So this poem really he is bringing about the theme, how the true love, how we have to identify the true love and the false love. Dear students, the theme of the poem is the true love. And here the poet brought two different ideas here in this poem. One is transient nature of the beauty and the permanence of love. Transient nature of the beauty, that means by passing time our beauty will fade one day. We can't be like this in our young days, in our future. It will fade one day. We will become old, our hairs will become grey, and a lot of changes, physical changes will happen. So this beauty is a transient one. We cannot keep that beauty a permanent one. But here the poet stresses on the true love, that is the permanence of love. The love which is changing according to the changes of the beauty, it is not a true love. That is a false love. And here the one man who loved this lady, that man's love, it is a true love. And here one more point the poet brings in this poem, it is usage of time. Here actually already I have told here, the poet uses a movement of pendulum, like that one movement he is bringing here, and the poet brings this lady to the past, and he is making awareness one day she will become old. So here the usage of time, how he is bringing these changes, this usage of time. And always we can't be beautiful like this. When in past time we will be that lady who she was a very beautiful one, she was very young, she was energetic, and everybody cannot be like that in the future. One day we will become old. So here the changes of time, that also the poet bringing here. And some difficult that terms, glad grace. Glad grace here means the physical beauty of this lady. And while she was actually the poet tells her to read the book, and she has to recollect what happened in her younger days. That time she has a glad grace, her physical beauty. And changing face. Changing face means this beauty was changing by day. What will happen when changes will happen in our life, and here the beauty was changing. A lot of changes happened. When we are coming to the permanence of love, we can see here the pilgrim soul. The many men, they loved her physical beauty. Some loves were very true, some loves were false also. But she couldn't identify that one. And that love which was based on the physical beauty. But the man who loved her well, that man loved her beauty of her soul. The pilgrim of soul means he loved her soul, not her beauty. So here in this poem, the poet brings ideas like transient nature of beauty and the permanence of love. And he is using the usage of time. What will happen to us, and what happened to us in the past, what is happening now, what will happen in the future. And all these ideas he is connecting to the true love and this false love. So the main theme of this poem, how the poet loved that lady, that love was a true love. Okay students, hope you understood this poem and to read well, understand well. Any doubt is there, you can ask me. See you in the next class.